It's a big race meeting out at Turffontein on Saturday. It is, of course, a double-header where we race alongside Hollywoodbets Kenilworth and Turffontein. Turffontein, they've got 12 races on the program, 9 races out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. So on the local front, we've got 21 races in total to look forward to on Saturday. Ample opportunity to make some cash. Now on Saturday, we've got 2 Grade 3s and 1 listed event. And joining me on the line for this preview show is Alistair Cohen. And Alistair, how are you doing?
Yeah, good day, Raheel. The way that you put there 21 races, that really is a feast of racing on this Saturday. Also not forgetting all the potential overseas options. But yeah, I mean, to go into a bit of detail, obviously looked at both cards. I think the Turffontein money the Turffontein card we can play aggressively, and the Hollywoodbets Kenilworth card, I think we could be in for a few results. Not too sure what Graham said on the other side with regard to that meeting, but I think that there's something for everybody. This meeting at Turffontein obviously wasn't supposed to look as appetizing and as big and perhaps intimidating as it looks, because the 3 feature races were postponed from last Sunday and reopened. But yeah, that makes for some very interesting and appetizing action at the Big T on this very long 12-race card.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing the show with Grammy was of the opinion that Tolmayan, the anchor on the day, but a couple of races where you could get a few results, but there's a few legs where you can go a bit short. And would you agree, Holtmeyer, possibly the horse to beat in the Summer Fling Stakes?
She's so well weighted, Raheel. I don't think that... put it like this, I'll be very disappointed and surprised if she doesn't go close. The Flower Saigon I have respect for, because I think 2,000 metres at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth is probably her best chance to pick up some black type in the Western Cape, or some deserved black type in the Western Cape. She's been most effective at Fairview of late. But yeah, I'd certainly lean towards Hold My Hand. But has she forgotten how to win? That's a little bit of a question mark. I'll tell you who I did see at the beach on Friday morning, because we were doing some promos with Glenn Cotson for the Monday meeting, and I did see Passchendaele at the beach, and I like the look of Passchendaele. But there's a little bit of info for Saturday in the Western Cape, but let's have a look at the half out.
Absolutely. Now, race number 1 on the program, 11:15. It is an early start, as it is a 12-race card, as I mentioned, 2,400 meters a trip. This is a middle stakes, and most of these runners were obviously set to run during the week, and they happen to take their place here. Now, this horse, absolute value, tops the boards at 2-1, 3-1 about Rulebook, 7-2 Professor Snape, Namakwa Blossom. It's 8-1 in Better Bar. Those. Now, the conditions of the race on the 11th of Jan weren't in the favour of absolute value, I thought, with 61.5. But now in a middle stakes, it's a race that seems to suit him a lot better with just 60. However, I believe horse number 3, Professor Snape, could be perfectly teed up for a massive run, with 58 on his back, having his peak run in the Highveld.
Yeah, so Raheel, when I did the show for Thursday, the ill-fated Thursday meeting with Dees, both of us observed that this was pretty much the race on Saturday. So trainers had their wits about them, expecting bad weather, and kept their options open. And the 3 horses I liked in that race were Absolute Value, Professor Snape, and Positive Attitude. Well, they all back again, but now we've got the kicker of number 8, Namakwa Blossom, the filly, who by the conditions of a middle stakes comes in here quite well weighted, but she hasn't won in a long time as Namakwa Blossom, and I think even though her rating is 80 and she's knocking on the door, she might just need a pound or 2 more relief from the handicapper. So I also like number 3, Professor Snape, because I liked him on the Thursday card, so I can't really deviate away from that. You're spot on about this potentially being him perfectly teed up. Gavin Lorena takes the ride, 3rd run in the half-vault, has been getting closer with each and every start. He looks and runs like an out-and-out stayer. It's a 2nd foray over 1.5 miles on the half-vault. It's his 3rd foray over 1.5 miles in his entire career. So I think that he's probably working towards his peak now, and he might be able to show his mettle here against some accomplished long-distance horses. Absolute Value is no mug. If he gets a free lead, which he probably will in this race, he could be a very difficult horse to peg back. He's totally turned the corner. He was rated 67 at the end of last season. He's now on 87, so 20 pounds up, and the handicapper is still probably swerving to figure out number 2, Absolute Value. And then the other horse, number 7, Positive Attitude, although if a lightweight, he pushed Breeze over all the way down to the line in the Racehorse Owners Association Stayers race on Betway Summer Cup Day. It was a good run. He's got a little bit more to find, I believe, even though that wasn't a feature race for 56 kilos on his back. He comes in here not the best weighted around. So despite that, I still think he's improving. So for me, one of 3 horses in the opener, 2 absolute value, 3 Professor Snake, my top choice, and 7 Positive Attitude.
That's 3 horses to play around in the first race on the day. Move along to race number 2, 1160 meters the trip. This is a maiden plate, and it will be the start of bipot number 1. Favorite here is Bob at 2-1. Green Flash 6-1 into 7-2, 9-2 about Empress of Normandy. See Shanty at 6-1, and then it's 12-1 and Better Bar those. Now Bob, he's a horse that I think he's taken a bit of time to put it all together, but a good second last time out to a filly that looks to be very progressive from the Mike de Kock yard. However, we've got the unknown quantity about horse number 13, Green Flash. Now, Gavin Lorena taking the ride for Brett Warren, 3-year-old daughter of Give Me the Green Light. She doesn't need to be too special to run a bold race on debut.
So that's pretty much the way I look at this angle, Raheel. When Bob is at the top of the boards, and I think Bob's due a win. I don't think he'll be too far away. In fact, this is probably his best chance to win. But when Bob's at the top of the boards, I think that suggests the quality of this race. And as you say, if 13 Green Flash has any iota of ability, she ought to go well. She's obviously a filly against Boyce, so gets a useful sex allowance, 57.5. Be great for Brett Warren to get a winner for his good old mate Jared and Lawrence Verners. Well, obviously Lawrence being the mate. Jared, I don't think, would know who Brett Warren is. Gavin Lorena takes the ride. And the daughter of Give Me the Green Light, well bred, Winterstar was obviously a good filly when she was a 3-year-old. She won the big sales race, toppling a top horse in the process whose name escapes me at the moment. But all the same, number 13 Green Flash, the fact that there's early money for her, I think probably pricks the ears a little bit more. She becomes interesting, number 13 Green Flash. And even though I would keep my options open and see if there's a follow through in the market, I think number 13 Green Flash ought to run a big race. You know, if you take her out of the picture, then all of 1 Bob, 2 Sea Shanty, the Crawford first-timers could be interesting. Watch the market. The one that makes the most appeal, pedigree-wise, is number 10, Montebello under Pilisande Mpoli. 11 Prize Platinums held by Bob, so I can't get too excited. 12 Empress of Normandy has run well, but run well in weak maiden. So it's a shallow race. Green Flash, if she has any ability, she should be in the first 2 for the bar. But back her up with number 1, Bob.
Yep. Just keep a very close eye on the market for any further support regarding number 13. And as you heard from Alistair, the 2 runners from the Brett Crawford yard, both first-timers, horses to keep an eye on as well. Moving along to race number 3, 1160 meters a trip. The start of the place accumulator, 12 is the off time. Great Barrier, disappointing as a favourite last time out, but perhaps 1400 a bit too far. Dow Solo 3-1 along with Work of Time, 4-1 Enchanting Lady, and then it's 12-1 and Better Bar those. Now, both Great Barrier and Dow Solo were beaten odds-on favourites at their last start, and it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back in this event. What's your thoughts on race number 3? This filly Work of Time, she drifted out in the market on debut. Not a bad run, 4.5 lengths behind Francine, returning off a lengthy layoff, but Samanga Kumalo in the yarn for Brett Crawford. This is not a combination that you see too often.
No, not at all. And I see Cabello Mazzaniani's got a suspension, but that suspension only kicks in next week, so I don't know why he's not in action. But anyway, be that as it may, I think we can narrow this down. We can work with about 4 horses in this race as potential winners, Raheel. Number 2, Great Barrier, as you say, hated 1400 meters last time, was worth the try, as it looked like a weak field, but she pulled and she just was never really a factor. She hit the front 400 meters up, but she was never going to sustain that. Gavin Lorena was, she was obviously nominated Great Barrier. Candice was undecided, running her from an inside draw on what's going to be a sticky track at Turffontein. That's not ideal, but Gavin kind of twisted her arm and said, no, let's go for it. So there is that degree of confidence about this daughter of Rafif. I think she'll run a good race. I must be honest. If she doesn't win, I think she'll go very, very, very close indeed. For me, the form lines that she brings, for example, to Phantom Express, is far better than anything Dow Solo brings. And Dow Solo got beaten by 100 to 1 shot, love tap at the penultimate start. And I wouldn't get overly excited about the Coppola form. But with that said, Dow Solo isn't far away from winning because her debut was a good one behind King of the Gauls. So not impossible that 4 Dal Solo runs her best race and goes close. One Enchanting Lady, I did say in the preview before the run on the 2nd of January, Fani Bronkhorst Lax's daughter of William Longsword. She had a bad injury after her second start, hence she was off for more than half the year, and it's taken her a while to get to her peak. It wasn't a strong race last time behind Winter Path, but she still stepped up. Not impossible that she takes another step forward. And then we've got the full sister to William Robertson, Work of Time. Very interesting. Off 200 days. Crawfords get them ready after a break. Samango Kamalo, as you say, takes the ride. The inside draw luck with Great Barrier. Not perfect, but probably workable. Like to see her go down to the start before I form a solid opinion, but I would definitely keep her open-ended when it comes to the place accumulator. If it looks like she's fitting well, then number 13, Work of Time, becomes a chance. But I think Great Barrier will run a big race.
Yeah, Great Barrier going in once again at around 5-2 in the market and hoping that she can put her best foot forward. But the interesting horse in the race is number 13, Work of Time. Met winners on debut, not disgraced, and she's open to any amount of improvement. Moving along to race number 4, 1600 meters the trip, and this is a maiden plate for fillies and mares. Another race that I don't think is going to take a lot of winning. It's Darlene Harbour at the top of betting boards at 18-10, 22-10 about Regal Daughter. It's then 11-2 and Better Bar those. Now, of the two runners from the Candace Dawson yard, I must be honest, Alistair, I far prefer Regal Daughter. I'd much rather run 4 lengths to Forgiveness than a neck behind Martinique, who, in my opinion, was a huge shock last time out.
You're right. There's no hiding that. And also the draw swing with number 3, Regal Daughter, compared to number 6, Darling Harbour. But Darling Harbour has been unlucky in her races in her two starts. Pilasande and Oli bemoaned the fact that the irons coming out of the stalls in the penultimate start, and she wasn't much help for the first 400 metres as a consequence. But he regained, and Darling Harbour ran nicely enough. And last time she did push Martinique down to the line. But yes, as you said, wouldn't get too excited about that. But number 3, Regal Daughter, from a good draw, banging at the door. Like I said, the reason why she was off was just because she kept fetching bad draws. So that's why she was off for over 3 or for 2 months. And she ran a good second to the Progressive Forgiveness last time out. So I think number 3, Regal Daughter, looks like she's coming to her own. She's bred for a further trip. Would be nice to get a 2,000 meter fillies race, but she was nominated here, and from draw 1, you can't run away. So 3, Regal Daughter, big runner. Pick 6 is my suggested bet. I have put in number 6, Darling Harbour. That's just to save face, because if she were to win, I don't really feel like facing the consequences. 4, Villa Samaya, 14 start maiden. She's not going to Hollywood, but she's got compelling enough form to recommend her chances. And likewise, number 5, Arctic Commander, also in the same boat. So I do honestly believe that the winner comes from one of those 4, and I might have even gone a step too wide with a horse there.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the numbers in race number 4 for Alistair over 1600 meters. Race number 5, another event that will be run over 1600 meters, a maiden plate as well. Green Garnet, he is at 15-10. There's been support from around 2-1. It's 22-10 about Emblem of War, 28-10 Policy of Truth, and then it's 11-2 and Better Bar those. Now, Emblem of War, draw 2, obviously an advantage, and given Jury's Out has performed so well, 20 Drachma is also winning from that form line. I think Tani Player has just been the disappointment from that race here, and third behind Jury's Out on that occasion. So let's see how that goes. But this horse, Green Garnet, he's a horse that cost 1.1 million rand, and he's taken, I'd say, maybe a bit longer than Mike de Kock may have expected, but Gavin Lerena aboard for the first time, returning off a 2-month layoff, and his last run behind Birthright. I think last time out it was just the fact that Birthright got first run on him, went to the front and managed to steal the race, but this horse did his best work late.
So Raheel, he's been gelded, and that might bring about the expected potential of number 5, Green Garnet. Mike de Kock thinks he's well above average. So this is probably one of the last rolls of the dice. Maybe Blinkers could be another angle for number 5, Green Garnet, but I think that he's the one that they all need to beat. I know he's going to be drawn 9 out of 9, so therefore without cover, and we'll need a little bit of luck in the race on the stand side track just before the turn to Slotten, but Gavin Lerena's on board, so I'm sure Gavin will have a plan. 5, Green Garnet is my top choice, because I just think that this might be the catalyst to seeing a bit of life from the son of Gimme the Green Light. I have to back him up with number 2, Emblem of War. As you say, the form's good. Jury's out is so progressive. The only time he's been beaten since getting out of the maidens, he was only beaten by a bad draw, and he went down oh so narrowly. As you say, 20 drachmas won, but 20 drachmas won over a mile and a half. But the point is, the form is looking good. Emblem of War has a useful draw, has Muzi Yeni back on board. I would have expected Muzi would have been on the phone to the Aussie saying, where's this horse? Need to get back on him because he's ready to win. He too has his first run as a gelding, so that could also bring out a little bit more from the son of Global View. Absolute boat race for me. Only 2 horses I can see going well. Boxed Exactus, both in the pick 6, one or the other in the bar pots, and place accumulator.
Yeah, 2 and 5 in race number 5 on the day. Moving along to race number 6, the first of the features on the day, 1600 meters. This is the Betway Wolf Power 1600 listed contest, and 10 past 2 is the off time. Silent War 18 to 10, 7 to 2. Shoemaker 4 to 1. Unzen, it's an 8 to 1, and Better Ball those. Now, obviously, this race was scheduled for last week Saturday, and I was of the opinion that Silent War would win. I was encouraged by the way he finished off his race in the Grand Heritage. He was slow out, had to be dropped out, and he absolutely flew home. And he was only beaten 2.5 lengths, and on that run, he's got the beating of Unzen at the weight. So I think he's the horse that they all have to beat, and a potential banker for me, Alistair.
Raheel, I'm not convinced about Silent War because I think it's dangerous to look at the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage as your line of form here, because it's such a quirky race over 1,475 meters with so many horses. You need all the luck and running in the world, and yes, he had none, but I'd rather go on a tried and tested piece of form with Silent War and try and work him out from there. So I'm going back to the 28th of October, which was, of course, the Heritage Race Day. No, rather it wasn't. It was the On a Mission Mile Race Day on the 28th of October, when Silent War finished in front of Paramaniac. But Paramaniac comes in here 3 kilos better off at 2.5 lengths. Now, this race last week, I was comfortable with just 2 horses, but Paramaniac wasn't in the Betway Wolf Power a week ago, and now obviously with the extra week and coming into his own, or whatever the story may have been, Sean Terry's put Pyromaniac into the race. Now, I think this is tailor-made for him. I've always maintained that a mile's at the end of a spectrum. So all the times that he's been going 2,000 meters, although running nicely, he just doesn't get the job done. I think the son of Silvano still got a race of this nature in his blood. So I'm going to go with number 3, Pyromaniac now as my top selection. I've backed him up with number 1, Shoemaker, who obviously needs a bit of luck from the draw, and he needs a pace to aim at because he'll be running on strongly. Hopefully they don't run him off his feet too badly in the early stages, and he's in enough of a zone to be able to close the deficit, whatever that deficit is, at the top of the straights. And then number 7, Another Level. Do not let this horse run loose. I was having a good chat to Muzi Yeni, funny enough, at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth after the King's Plate. And Muzi obviously knowing that Samanga's got the ride, and he was saying, I've told Candace for a long time, put blinkers on the son of Twice Over. And if you go to the run on the 12th of November, Another Level finished a length and a half in front of Brave Viking, and has Brave Viking absolutely ice cold at the weights. So if you like Brave Viking, have a look again at number 7, Another Level. He's got draw 1 in the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage. Knew halfway through the day that a middle draw was going to be no good because you need cover, you need luck, and of no fault of Nathan Klink, he just found absolutely none of it. So expect a lot more from number 7, Another Level this time around. He'll run a big race.
Another Level trading at around 14 to 1, and a good inclusion there from Alistair. But top selection, Pyromaniac at 8 to 1. He's a horse that's got a lot of ability, and I think it may be a bit surprising that he's only won 3 starts from his 21 career outings. But let's see how he does go in race number 6. We move along to race number 7, which is the Mother Russia Stakes, 1,400 meters a trip. This is a grade 3 event, the first of our 2 grade 3s on the day. 14:45 the off time. Race number 7, and here it is White Pearl that tops the board at even money, 6 to 1 into 9 to 2 about Let's Go Now, 8 to 1 Elegant Ice, and then it's 10 to 1 and Better Bar those. Now White Pearl, draw 1, huge advantage, 1,400 meters, Gavin Larina, track and trip suits, and last time out she just found unbeaten stable companion too good. And give me another obviously she's a filly that we don't know how good she is, but let's see how her career happens to shape up. But White Pearl, the horse to beat in your opinion?
No doubt, Raheel on the run too. Give me another. She's got to stand out. She's got draw one. You know, when this race was up last Sunday and we had Champagne Cocktail in the race, I thought if ever White Pearl's going to beat Champagne Cocktail, it would be over 1,400 meters. I don't think there's much hope going past that trip. I read a very interesting stat that this could be Danon Platina's first stakes winner. That absolutely staggered me, and he would absolutely deserve to have some bold black type and capital letters in the catalogues going forward. I think White Pearl should win. She's found Mrs. Geriatrics too good in the BSA sales race. She found Egyptian Mile too good in the Starling Stakes, and then I think Gimme and Others just a cut above last time out in the Betway Fillies Mile on Betway Summer Cup Day. So one White Pearl, top choice easily. But number 3, Let's Go Now, should be right there. There was only a short head between them when they met in the Fillies Mile on Summer Cup Day. Last time in the now War of Athena Stakes, she ran a little bit flat. She was probably left with a bit too much to do. She stayed on at the end. Does she reach 1,800 meters? I don't know. So coming back to 1,400 ought to serve this daughter of Give Me the Green Light well. And just simply on that evidence of what happened on Betway Summer Cup Day, I'd feel uncomfortable putting one in and not having the other in. So 1 and 3 for me in the pick 6. I'm happy to hold it to those two. Petula's last run, she got no right to finish in front of White Pearl unless something goes catastrophically wrong. Elegant Eyes, I think, is a good filly, but I think she's a good sprinter. Key Element just looks like she's lost her way. Mary's Green Light's on the up, but I don't know if she's up to this class. Lady Fallon won a good race last time, but My Lady Soul fluffed her line subsequent. Garlands of Greenery could be anything. Mia Moo's going to be tested here. Woman of Power I also think is just a sprinter. So I'm comfortable with 1 and 3 because of the disclaimers about the others.
You mentioned Garlands of Greenery, and I was actually going to ask you what's your thoughts on this filly. You mentioned could be anything. Now, last time out, she was obviously fancied in the market at around 9-4, and she probably ran a bit below expectation, but maybe the draw was not in her advantage. Now, 1,400 meters, a trip that should suit her on pedigree, and I mean, she's obviously got a lot of scope for improvement, Alistair.
Raheel, it's not impossible that she throws her weight around and really makes her presence felt here. I think that she'll run into the money, but the fact that she's got no compelling evidence as far as feature race form is concerned, and we've got grade 2 and grade 3 form on offer versus a graduation plate, I just found it hard to make a strong case about number 8, Garlands of Greenery. If she were to win, then she can enter the conversation for the Wilgeborster Triple Tiara. No doubt about that. I'm not saying that she's going to go on and win the Wilgeborster Triple Tiara, but she's not in the conversation with Gimme Another and Champagne Cocktail and various other Silver Sanctuary, etc. But if she were to run very close here, then she deserves to get into that conversation as a horse to watch.
Yeah, she's potentially the unknown package in race number 7, number 8, Garlands of Greenery. But just 2 horses here for Alistair. Number 1, White Pearl, and number 3, Let's Go Now. The 2 fillies that have been tested at group level. Race number 8, this is the Betway Got the Green Light Stakes, 1,400 meters a trip. This is a grade 3 event, and it is set to be a cracking contest. Unlike last weekend where we had Sandringham Summit, he's unfortunately not here, and he'll be giving this race a miss. But Main Defender is still here, and he's at 7-10 in the market. Champagne Cocktail 5-2. Give Me Another Chance 11-2, and then it's 14-1 and better bar. Those 3 horses in single figures. This horse, Main Defender, he's been super impressive. He's won 5 starts with 1 second to his name. He's got a deep draw to overcome, but he's got the gate speed to overcome the draw, Alistair. And rest +1, 3 runs, 3 wins. He's a horse that has taken on proper opposition, and there's no doubt that he's going to be the horse that they all have to set their sights on.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very good horse. Weirdly, this race has become so much more interesting than it was last week. Last week was just a pure match race, and with Sandringham Summit sidestepping and Champagne Cocktail coming into this race with the fillies allowance, it becomes very interesting indeed. Although I think number 1, Main Defender, will still hold sway. Obviously, draw 8 out of 9, not perfect over 1,400 meters, but as you say, he's got the gate speed and he's got the class. This is a very valuable stepping stone into the Triple Crown, which obviously begins on the first Saturday of February. And I think he's up to the task, because winning the Joburg Spring Challenge was sensational when he ate Thunderstruck alive. Thunderstruck's only gone and won twice in Cape Town since, and he looks like, fine, he's got to beat a Sivungu Vungu in the Cape Flying Championship, but the point is he's beaten a Sivungu Vungu in the Trippy Stakes here on Lomaral King's Plate Day. So that is the level that main defender's capable of. Kelvin Habib now gets on board for the first time, but I know that he's done a lot of work back home. Top choice, hard horse to beat, but Champagne Cocktail, although she is going to come into his own, or her own rather, maybe not in the first leg of the Volkerboss Triple Tiara, but certainly second and third leg. This full sister Sparkling Waters, everything that Sparkling Water isn't. I've spoken to Mike de Kock at length about this daughter of Silvano and what he thinks of her. She's got a temperament. She's obviously got all the ability. This will be her first foray into feature race level, but she's got feature race level written all over her. So be very interesting to see how she goes with number one main defender, because she could I don't think there'll be a short head between them like there was between Sandringham Summit and main defender. It's either going to go main defender hands and heels, or it's going to go Champagne Cocktail hands and heels. And I've also just kept number 2, Give Me Another Chance, into the play, simply because it's his first run as a gelding. I've been of the opinion that this horse needs to be gelded for quite a while, and I'd be more annoyed with myself if I left him out and he were to run a big race. So that's just more instinct rather than really fancying number 2, Give Me Another Chance.
Yeah, it's been an absolute model of consistency, number 2, Give Me Another Chance, and he almost stole the race last time out in the Dingans, but Purple Pitcher managed to find more when put under pressure. That's race number 8, the Betway got the green light stakes. It's set to be a very, very exciting contest with the unbeaten Champagne Cocktail taking on main defender. Moving along to race number 9, 1400 meters the trip. And race number 9, 15:55 is the off time. Bless My Stars, your even money favorite, 3-1 about Captain Peg. Juliet Tango at 5-1. It's in 10-1 and better bar those. Bless My Stars is a class filly in the contest. She ran a cracker behind Royal Victory in the Betway Summer Cup, beaten into third, just beaten under 2.5 lengths. That form line is already standing out, and she's the horse that they all have to beat. The slight concern, would it be 1400 meters?
So let me put it to you like this. First and foremost, I just want to mention that this is the first leg of the third jackpot, 3 jackpots on this 12 race card. Raheel, so there are issues with number 1, Bless My Stars, although I've bankered her in the pick 6. First issue is, yes, 1400 meters may just be her undoing if there is an undoing. And second of all, Sean Terry's horses generally don't win their prep runs unless they're very good. And Bless My Stars, as we know, is very good. She's Grade 1 placed, Grade 1 winner. She won the Volkerboss Strip South African Fillies Classic last year when beating Feather Boa. That's what she's capable of. The reason why I've banked her, pretty simple. There's no one anywhere close to her quality. I looked around. Captain Peg better on the inside track. Tulip Tree I don't think is as good as Captain Peg. Juliet Tango, who I liked last time in the War of Athena, won the race, got given £6 by the handicapper. But can you put Juliet Tango and Bless My Stars in the same conversation? I don't think so. And the others, despite receiving a lot of weight, I just don't think are up to the task. So I bank number 1, Bless My Stars, simply on class and quality, and I expect her to come through this unscathed.
Yeah, it's very hard to look past Bless My Stars in this contest. She's a class performer, taking on far stronger than this, and to consider that she's run 3rd in the Hollywoodbets Durbanville July, 2nd in the race was Seat again. I mean, that was a massive run from her, and let's see how she goes in race number 9 in search of that 6th career victory. Moving along to race number 10. This is a Fillies and Mares 92 handicap, 2,000 meters a trip. 4:30 is the off time. Favorite Spring in Heaven at 2-1, 28-10 Red Maple. Damo Star at 33-10. It's 4-1 Say Yes. 11-2 Poor Little Rich Girl, and then Quasi's Lady, a filly that was banging form a few months ago, is the biggest outsider at 14-1, considering her last 3 starts haven't been the greatest of efforts. Now, when having a look at this race, Alistair, it's obviously the filly at the top of the weights that tops the boards. 52 kgs on the back. Spring in Heaven, issue your top selection. I think I've got slight reservations, if I can put it that way, because the 2 fillies above her, Damo Star and Poor Little Rich Girl, have taken on stronger company, and they're 2 horses that I think could be very, very lethal here.
Raheel, I can't believe the price about number 2, Red Maple. I like Red Maple a lot here. So to answer your question about number 6, Spring in Heaven, I respect her chances, but no, she's not my top choice. And in the third jackpot, I'm banking number 2, Red Maple. Here's my reasoning. Second run after arrest, she now goes over a far more preferred distance. She came from near the back of the field in the War of Athena Stakes when she finished 4.5 lengths to Juliet Tango, when clearly needing the run and clearly crying out for further. She's a feature race winner. She won the Spook Express over 1.5 miles at this course. Gavin Lorena takes the ride for the first time, replacing Apprentice Sianda Sasipo, who could not claim last time out. He's very close to losing his claim. He's well worth his 1.5 while at last. I think he's 2 wins away. I think Red Maple's just got more quality than everyone else. And she finished in front of Say Yes and Quasi's Lady last time. And with all that said, she still comfortably got the beating of Say Yes and Quasi's Lady. I'm very, very keen on number 2, Red Maple. I thought she would have been value if she were favourites. And the fact that she's not favourite, I think she's value times 2. So I'm very strong on her chances here.
28-10 the price about horse number 2, Red Maple. And as you heard from Alistair, he's supremely confident about this filly coming through to notch up career win number 4, and perhaps she could be worth a bet on the head at the current quote of 28-10. Race number 11, an MR 74 handicap, 2,000 meters a trip, 5:05 is the off time, and your favorite is Fushimi Inari at 16-10. Romeo's Magic at 7-1, at 5-1 rather, at 7-1. Nothing else matters. Indian Ocean, Duke of Oxford 10-1, and Better Ball those. Now Fushimi Inari, he ran a cracker last time out behind Banner Bridge, who won again for you, and obviously congratulations on that victory. He's a horse that is an absolute ATM, and a facile, well, I wouldn't say facile, but a game victory from Banner Bridge to get the better of Fushimi Inari, Alistair.
Oh, what a horse. 7-time winner, giving weight to Fushimi Inari. That was great. And here's Fushimi Inari 11 days later. I think there are 3 winning chances here, Raheel. The first one I want to talk about is number 2, Nothing Else Matters, though. The draw's obviously a worry. If there's a pace, this sort Nothing Else Matters is a huge chance. If they walk, and you'll know your fate after 200 meters, then he's got no chance. If he's got something to aim at, what I'm saying is you have to put him in because he can be dangerous, number 2. Nothing Else Matters. I thought he had run a good race last time out, but when they walked, it was forget about number 2, Nothing Else Matters. He's not going to be a factor. He didn't quicken. He was just never in the hunt. So put him in because he's capable, but he's going to need things to go his way. Number 3, Fushimi Inari, top choice easily, banging at the door, penultimate start with his 3-year-old rivals, ran a nice race to Biofarmer. I know Stuart Pettigrew is targeting the Derby trial with the son of Dan Platina. If he were to win the Derby trial, then there's no reason to doubt a potential tilt at the Derby, which, by the way, might be winnable this year, because even though they're far better horses than Fushimi Inari running around in Joburg, which of them are going to get 1.5 miles? Not sure. So not for one moment suggesting Fushimi Inari is my Derby horse, but what I am saying is don't be surprised to see him in the race and potentially run a nice one and get hammered by the handicapper as a result. And then the other one is number 10, Indian War Dance. I was so frustrated this horse won last time, Raheel. I'm sure I've done a lot of shows with you where I've liked number 10, Indian War Dance. I washed my hands of the son of the Apache a while ago. A lightly soft track is going to help his chances again. So he's back in my good books. I don't know if he should be in my bad books because I let him run loose last time out for the first time in a while, but I've got to like number 10, Indian War Dance, on the back of a £4 penalty and coming back to life. He might be a confidence horse, so don't leave him out of your play. So I think those are the likely winners in what must be said is quite an open race.
Indian War Dance at around 12-1 in the market could offer some value once again at that current price. But horse number 3, Fushimi Inari, the one that they all have to beat at around 16-10. Moving along to race number 12, which will be the final race on the day. This is an MR 72 handicap over 1160 meters. 17:40 is the off time. Your favorite is Duke of Rock at 5-2. Now, he's been a horse that has been terribly costly to follow. 3-1, Fully Automatic. 7-1, Erolina. It's 10-1, Max the Otter. Sugary Sweet, twice as well. 12-1, and Better Ball those. Now, when we have a look at the form of this race, there's no doubt that Max the Otter has taken on far stronger than what he does meet here. And I think he's always been a horse that Candice Bass-Robinson has held in high regard. She's thought that he could win his fair share of races and go through the divisions, but he's never really confirmed that promise. And His recent form is uninspiring, but first run for New Yard, returning off a rest. If he takes to conditions over in the Highveld, he could be tremendous value at his current quote of 10-1.
So, Raheel, that is pretty much how I read the race. First and foremost, it's not an easy race, and there's no way that number 5, Max the Otter, is the rent money proposition, but he's definitely worth an each-way play, certainly at the price. You're right, if he takes the conditions, if he's acclimatized, and if he can put his best foot forward, which, as you say, is a very promising foot forward, then he should actually win the race. There's no doubt about that. But I think you can't be blinkered in this race. I think you've got to go open-minded. I'm not going to go through the form because it's just a frustrating race and I'll frustrate myself and the viewers. For Duke of Rock, I didn't like him last time out. I like him more this time around because of the high number draw. 5, Max the Otter. 7, Fully Automatics. I think the handicapper may have reached him because he's gone up, £15 for 2 wins. It's not going to be easy for him, but you can't completely write him off because he's seeking a genuine hat-trick of wins. 12, Jet Cat, if he was drawn towards the outside, I'd actually tip him as my top choice, but I think he's a better horse down the straight than he is around the turn. And 13, Twice as Well, also has to go in because I think this is more her game than on the Vol Classic track. So I think the winner comes from one of those. Very tricky race, but there's no doubt if Max the Otter runs to 75% of his potential, he'll make this field look ordinary.
Yeah, he's one to keep a very close eye on horse number 5 at that quote of 10-1, but there's quite a few horses that need to go in. Horses like 4, 7, you've heard from Alistair at number 12, Jet Cat could be some nice value as well at around 16-1, and then number 13, Twice as Well, who's at 10-1. So it's a race where you could end off the day with a bit of a result in race number 12. We're going to move along to the suggested bet now, and Alistair will take us through his suggested bet for a 12 race program out at the Big T on Saturday. Alistair, take it away with your suggested bet.
So the suggested bet of the pick 6 starts at 1 o'clock. 3, 4, 5 and 6, Regal Daughter, Villa Samaya, Arctic Commander and Darling Harbour. Secondly, I've gone 2, Emblem of War and 5, Green Garnet. By 1, Shoemaker, 3, Pyromaniac and 7, Another Level. By 1 and 3, White Pearl and Let's Go Now on the Grade 3, Mother Russia. Then the Grade 3 got the Green Light Stakes, gone 1, Main Defender, 2, Give Me Another Chance and 9, Champagne Cocktail. What a race that'll be. Then banker number 1, Bless My Stars in the finale. Not a bank-breaking pick 6 by any stretch of the imagination. Pity there's no pick 6 carryover attached to either card, but it is the middle of the month, so I understand why. And with all the feast of racing, 3 jackpots, 2 buy-pots, there's every reason to get involved at both race meetings. Like I said at the top of the show, I don't think Turffontein is going to pay a hell of a lot, so we can play that aggressively. On the other end of the spectrum, Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, I think we can make a lot of money on that card if you do cast your nets a little bit wider.
11:15 is the off time for race number 1, a 12 race program. As I mentioned at the top of the show, 21 races on the local front. Alistair, thanks very much for your time. All the best. Have a wonderful weekend.
Raheel, always a pleasure. Same to you. To all the punters, may you have a wonderful weekend. As I said to Dees, it's wall-to-wall feature races throughout the weekend. So we continue along at Hollywoodbets Scottsville on Sunday for the Michael Roberts Stakes, which is always a lovely day out. But always a pleasure chatting to you, Raheel, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks to Alistair, and all the best to you as the viewer with racing out at Turffontein on Saturday. Hopefully it's a good day's racing.